Okay, don't say stuff like that.
You mean don't be me?
Okay, welcome everybody to Bin Chickens. This is our very first Bin Chickens podcast. My name is Chris. Um, I have a very special guest in the studio today. It is my Bin Chickens co-founder and the entire inspirational genius behind Bin Chickens. Her name is Julie. Welcome, Julie, to the podcast.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
I think your laughter and one of your comments may have been the beginning of the recording.
You need to do a better job of letting me know when we're recording.
Well, I thought I accomplished that by saying, okay, I'm going to press the button to start recording. And you had to get in one more witty little little jab. So it's fine. I like it. I think it's more natural.
Well, if you like it, I like it.
Okay, well hopefully you start to develop your own personality over the course of the show.
I sure hope
Uh,
so.
of course, I'm just kidding. Um, Julie, did you want to take maybe 8 seconds and describe maybe what bin chickens is, or are we past that? I'm not sure.
No, I think we should absolutely touch on it. It's our first podcast for our viewers, and I think it's important to address what we are doing. And what we are doing is having a really badass vinyl record fair in Chicago. We are going to have numerous vendors from record stores across the greater Chicagoland area. We've also reached out to vendors outside of Illinois and our neighboring states of Wisconsin and Indiana and Ohio. We're hoping to continue to grow this event for the future as well. We want to have a really great show that's different than other vinyl fairs. So our focus is on the experience. It's not just come and dig. We want people to stay and have a great time. So we're having it hosted at Rock Bottom Brewery at Grand and State on June 15th. And we have general admission and VIP tickets available on our website, binchickenchicago.com. And we hope that you all will join us for quite a fun day.
Okay, well, couple things. One, it's a little over the 8 second allotment that I tried to guide you
Dang,
with.
I forgot that rule. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. The other thing is I have a confession to make. This is all new information to me. I did not know that we were going to do this at all. You told me we were having an event, and but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know when it was. I didn't know where it was. So this is kind of, I'm glad that we did this because now I'm getting a little idea of what you've been haranguing me about these last 6 weeks. This makes a little more sense now.
If only I believed you.
But of course, I'm kidding. Of course, you're spot on with everything you said. I certainly hope we prove to be different and viable. And I'm excited about the event. It's coming up in, I think I looked at the calendar today. I think it's 7 Saturdays from this Saturday, the 20.
Saturday.
Well, yes, yes. And what about the other Saturday song that you always bust out? Literally every time I say the word Saturday. What's the other one?
Saturday in the park. Like
Thank
that?
you. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly like that. So now that we've gotten both of your Saturday triggers, on the record.
Doesn't everyone
Uh,
have a Saturday trigger? I feel like it's not just me.
uh, People probably have a lot of musical triggers and song triggers, but I don't know if they always have those two triggers for Saturday every time they hear the word, because Saturday comes up a lot. I feel like it's a weekly thing for most people.
True
You know,
story. I have to say though, it's quite an interesting point that you bring up. I think that there's always a music trigger for something that comes up for me, and it happens all the time. But at any point in a conversation, I can pretty much sing a song lyric or make a quote or have reference to some kind of song, and it happens to me all the time. And does this happen to you too?
well, I'm sure. Well, I haven't spoken with Bono in a while, but I'm sure it does happen to you too. considering they are musicians, quite famous ones at that. No, it does happen to me a lot, and the first thing that I always think of when considering this idea is years ago I saw a show. I'm not going to name the Chicago TV show host whose show it is, but she works at Harpo Studios. She made a comment about like music is the soundtrack to our lives, and everybody was like, this was before retweeting, but if tweeting was around, they would have been retweeting this, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, she's so right. Music is the soundtrack to our lives." But it always annoyed me because, of course, it's the soundtrack to our lives. Nothing else would be the soundtrack to your life. Like what a soundtrack is. It's music. I didn't think it was this profound thing, but you are right. There are lots of triggers that that I hear on a daily basis, weekly basis, makes a song play in my head or a lyric. And I like that. I think it's fun. It's nice. It's nostalgic. It's comforting. It's whatever you want it to be.
I
Uh,
agree.
so I so I guess we're supposed to come up with a couple questions for each other. This was your idea.
Well, it was my original idea, but you failed to follow the rules apparently.
Wait, what do you mean? We can still ask questions. What are you talking about?
Yeah, ask me a question.
Okay, well, wait. How many questions do you have for me?
Well, I wrote down two because you then told me you didn't have questions.
Oh, that's right, because I was supposed to give you. Oh, that's right, because I was supposed to have questions that I wanted you to ask me. Okay.
hmm This is
All right.
getting
So you
quite
want?
confusing.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty complicated stuff. So you want me to ask you a question first of you?
Sure.
Okay. And you did suggest that it be more related to us and or our friendship, maybe?
Well, and the event.
Oh, see now now you're throwing it back to that.
Well,
Well,
it can. I mean, we can do whatever.
okay. So you're probably gonna hate these questions, but I'm gonna ask them to you anyway. One, okay, my first question is I found out I got a bit of really good news and a bit of really bad news in the last hour, which was the time that has elapsed since we last spoke. So,
Hit me
my
with the
question,
bad news first.
you want the bad news first? Okay. The bad news first was I went on Google on my phone and it like throws up like a couple headlines for news articles they want to suggest, which is based on all the information they compile about you, whatever, etc. So I clicked on the very first headline, which was my favorite band of all time, Rage Against the Machine. It said Tom Morello, and he's the guitarist. It said Tom Morello leaks secret in quotes leaks secret, then says don't tell anyone. And the picture that accompanies this headline is a picture of him, Tom Morello, the guitarist, and Zach De La Roca, who is the vocalist, and he has not performed with them in years, and there's been no rumors of them getting together. So I immediately, in my clickbaity instinct, thought the secret is that they are getting back together again and going to at least go on tour again, if not a full album. So I got super pumped, clicked on the link. It had nothing to do with their former vocalist coming back. It was just clickbait, and so I was very disappointed. So that's the bad news.
Sorry, Chris.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I thought Prodigy was your favorite band.
Okay, that's a good follow-up question. It's a good follow-up question. I have a holy triumvirate of bands, and Prodigy is in there, Rage Against the Machine is in there, and Chemical Brothers is in there. And the only reason why I felt comfortable saying Rage is my favorite band of all time is because I consider them more of a band than the other two because they use typical band instruments, guitar, bass, drums, and vocals. And the other two groups are electronic acts that create their music electronically and don't use those instruments in the production of the music. So it's a technicality, but it makes me feel better about calling Rage my favorite, even though they are technically tied with the other two groups. They're all like a swirling morass of three favorites. So
Interesting.
good follow up. Good
Yeah,
follow
yeah. Well, you threw me for a loop on that one.
up. Well, sorry about that, but now did you want to hear the good news that I heard?
I do. I would love to know the good news.
So I was at McDonald's and I heard a guy who was ordering after I'd already placed my order say something about hot and spicy, and I asked the person handing me my bag of food, "Wait, do you guys have the hot and spicy McChicken back?" And she said, "Yes, they just came in yesterday." I said, "How long are you going to have these?" She said, "For a little while." So the reason why this is good news is because the hot and spicy McChicken is 10 times as good as the regular McChicken, which is already phenomenal, and they haven't had it in like 3 years by my count at this McDonald's, at Chicagoland McDonald's. So this is a pretty big deal.
How does the hot and spicy rank against your Australian nugget experience?
Mm, that's you know what, Julie. I don't know. You may have missed the boat on your career path. You maybe should have been a an investigative reporter.
I am very investigative.
you're, you're, and you're very reportive. Your follow-up questions are top notch. Um, Hot and spicy McChickens are probably just a slight notch below the spicy nuggets at Macca's in Australia, just because there's more of a production in eating a sandwich than popping in 10 nuggets into my mouth one by one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I love the battle between them because I'm a winner either way, either or. So spicy nuggets got a 10, hot and spicy McChicken gets 9.5. So that's a good problem to have.
Good, real good problems to talk about. Spicy nuggets and chickens for bin chickens.
Ah, right. See, and you're tying it all together. See, so I'm not too far off the mark here. Do you have a question that you were going to ask? Wait, so are we at your question now? But is it
Yeah,
of yours?
yeah. Well, I think it's important that our viewers get to know both of us. And what they do know about you now is that you are a McDonald's elite fan. I will
Yes.
underline elite. Uh, they also know that you are Prodigy and Chemical Brothers and, oh God, I've already forgotten the third one.
I was about to give you so much props for remembering all three, but you dropped the ball
I
on the last one.
did. I did. Who were Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, and it wasn't Daft Punk. Who is it?
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine. That's what
And
our viewers know about you, but I don't.
right, right now I want to start a band called Rage Against Julie for forgetting it so quickly.
I'm
But
sorry.
it's
I'm
okay.
sorry. You're way out of my genre with this stuff.
It's okay. It's a Meatloaf song. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So you're still hitting on the top of the order.
Well, that's nice of you to give me the props. Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely wanted to bring this back to us, and I would like to ask you, Chris, about what we're doing in terms of putting on this record fair for people. What about this is exciting for you?
Um, okay, well, again, I just found out about this about 15 minutes ago, so I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. Um, well, what's exciting about this for me is, I mean, it's a number of things. One, it's the fact that I have never had any experience. Well, I don't know if I should point that out. I've never done anything like this. I'm realizing as I'm
We
talking.
are completely unqualified.
I'm completely unqualified, other than a love of music and putting things together and trying out fun activities and creating experiences, as you mentioned specifically earlier. I'm excited that for that, just that it's something that I have not had experience with, but it sounds on paper, it sounds really great and fun. I'm excited that we're going to be bringing together a number of record stores with curated crates to dig through because, as you know, I love digging through record crates. So this is going to be fun just for that on a personal level. And of course, we're going to have some DJs spinning records, and I'm going to be one of those DJs, but I'm going to put quote marks around DJs and also put wannabe in front of it. So I'm excited about playing vinyl in front of a crowd larger than myself in a public place. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and the fact that you're going to be there. And actually, no, actually, that's probably the most exciting thing, Julie, is that you are getting into this thing with records, and you have like no vinyl necessarily like a love for vinyl like I do. So it's exciting to see somebody even learn a few things along the way, even incidentally, about vinyl and record collecting and the whole community of, you know, vinyl connoisseurs that goes with
Well,
it.
and I'm learning so much. I have to say that, yeah, this whole project for me, and to echo your point at the end here, is I love doing this with you. We've been friends since we were 16. It's been 20 years now, almost 20 years. And, it's
20 years and some change, if we're being honest.
don't date me. You
I'm not
don't know.
I'm not gonna let you get away with that one.
So it's nice to have something that we get to do together. We spend so much time together anyway. This has been your passion for your whole life. I've watched you as you just are in your element with your records, and you said your collection's close to 4,000 strong right now, right? That's about where you're at.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid estimate, I believe.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see your interest in this. And then, the turning point being our trip to Australia and going out on some digs with you and just, getting into it. And with my background being in the creative field and, interior design and home staging and home styling, it's something that I really enjoy doing and putting things together. And so when this whole vinyl fair idea came up, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I get most of my creative ideas at night, usually a lot of times while I'm sleeping. I'll wake up with these ideas, or the solutions to my clients' design problems come to me while I'm really just like kind of unconsciously marinating on them. And, the day after we went on that dig, it was one of those things that hit me in the middle of the night when I woke up, and I just, at 3 o'clock in the morning, wasn't going back to sleep. I had already started developing this whole thing in my head and hit the ground running as soon as we got home. Like, we landed the plane, and, well, not we technically, I'm not really a pilot, but I'm the daughter of a pilot. That plane hit the ground, much better landing than the one going to Sydney, I should add.
Yes.
Uh, worst landing ever. And, went straight out and sold this idea, and it went off like wildfire. And I was so stoked that people were so stoked on the idea. And, I remember when I was talking with one of the managers at Rock Bottom when we were, asking about using their space, his excitement, like the light up in his eyes when I said that I wanted to have a record vinyl fair. And he was like, absolutely. He's like, the resurgence of vinyl is totally in right now. And he wanted to support the community. And then I started really diving in and like digging into the vinyl community. And I have to say, I'm really impressed by what Chicago has here. The people and their stores are awesome, and they're so friendly, and they're so welcoming and happy to help, and turning us on to other people to communicate with and network. And it's trial by fire for me in terms of the genres of, vinyl music, because I'm not an avid collector, but it's straight up my alley in terms of the creativity and doing fairs and going to markets and things like that. This is everything I've done my whole life. So it's really exciting to get this thing off the ground, and it's even more exciting to have you along with me, because between the two of us, this seems to be like the perfect combination of how to get your strengths and mine together on the same page.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
It's been really fun so far.
It has been. I'll concur with you there. Um, was that your question? Yeah, that was your question.
Yeah.
So wait, so you answered your own question?
Well, I just kind of circled around on it.
Right. You gave a much longer answer than I did.
Yes, I did.
So I think that's one of the questions that you wanted me to ask you. Sounds
It's
like.
not actually.
Ah, okay. So you just do that naturally. Okay. Um, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I only had thought of one other question that I was ready to ask you if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. What is more amazing? There's going to be two choices, so you have to tell me what's more amazing about me.
Okay.
I, the fact that I did not use the bathroom on the 16-hour flight from Chicago direct to Auckland, New Zealand. That's option A.
That's certainly something to note.
Option B, my skills at Dr. Mario.
I knew
Which one
you were
is more
going
amazing?
there.
Which
I
one is more amazing?
knew you were going there.
They're
You
both
know
pretty
what?
incredible. You
I
you got
will not give you the satisfaction of letting you think that you are the best Dr. Mario player out there because you're not. You're certainly not. Aunt Patty can and will shame you. But I will say that I have never in my life experienced anything like your trip to Auckland, New Zealand, 16 hours. It's not like we weren't putting some alcohol in to knock ourselves out. We knew what we were up against. And yet you did knock it out of your chair one time, not one time in 16 hours. I was up to use the restroom. I was up just to walk. I was up to get extra snacks. I couldn't stay in my seat, and you never left.
you couldn't stay in your seat. I was sitting there thinking for 16 hours, geez, why doesn't she just sit down?
And then you got Camel Bladder over here by the window who's like, I'm going nowhere.
But you know
And
what?
they
If you're gonna have somebody who has the bladder of a camel, it better be the person who's in the window seat because then they don't disturb either of the other two parties.
This is true. This is very, very true. I feel like you took the captain telling you to lock your seatbelt sign is on. You took that very seriously.
Well, I'm a simple guy. If somebody in power tells me do this, I'm gonna just do that. I'm not gonna complicate it.
Oh my gosh, that was a good question, Chris. That's so funny.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, but also I just did want to speak to your claim that Aunt Patty can and will put me to shame in Dr. Mario. I think there's been a couple times in the past where I have passed out while playing, and she was able to surge ahead and beat me
Oh,
while I was unconscious. So that may be leading you to think that she can beat me on some sort of like future basis. But
I'd like to clarify for anyone listening, he's never passed out while playing Dr. Mario. He's way
I've
too
wanted to pass out
confident
while I play
in
Dr.
his
Mario.
abilities and wants to make sure he knows that he's winning at all times.
That's a good point. That's a fair retort. Um, so good answer. Do you have a question for me?
Well, my follow-up question, you actually maybe it's not in the same genre. I was going to ask you a couple things. Well, one was going to be what was the first record that you ever bought?
Oh, because that was going to be if I had done what you had asked earlier and come up with questions that I wanted you to ask me, that was the first one I was going to ask.
I mean, you told me earlier, Chris, I should have been a journalist. I know my audience. So,
In, in all seriousness, did you ever take any journalism classes in college? Like,
no, never.
well, like I said, you missed the boat. Um, because I've been thinking about this as we've been getting this vinyl fair together, and as I've been trying to get a better grip on the cataloging of my personal collection, I have thought before, what is the first record that I can remember buying? And it was when I was 18 years old, and I had just moved to Colorado, and I wanted to become a DJ and DJ with vinyl records. And I actually bought a few records before I even had any turntables on which to play them because I wanted to use the fact that I had vinyl just sitting, waiting to be played. I wanted to use that as motivation to speed up the process of getting turntables. Um, so the very first record that I can remember buying in that youthful period at 18 and you're not going to know, well, I'll ask you if you know I'll ask you if you know the artist or the song or the genre that it was in. So I'm just going to tell you the artist. The artist is the Loonies. Do you know who the Loonies are?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know the song I Got Five on It?
Yes, I do.
Do you? Can you provide a little vocal sample to confirm this claim?
I got five on it.
Boom. Okay, so you do know it.
Rolling with that and doughy.
Oh, you even got the whole chorus. I like it. So, first of all, I'm a little impressed by that. I didn't think you were gonna know it.
I know
Um,
you didn't think so, and you
I
doubt me.
know. I thought you knew John Denver and like four other people, and I didn't think Loonies were on
He
that
was
list.
my first concert. My first three concerts.
Exactly. Your first and last three concerts. Um, and the particular record was that song, but it was a drum and bass remix of that song. Do you know what drum and bass is?
I know, I know loosely, isn't it like a musical category?
Well, yes, you've successfully confirmed what genre is. Musical category. So I'll give you the yes on that because technically yes, you are correct. Um, but yeah, it's one of the huge umbrella of genres that is known as techno, collectively electronic dance music, whatever you want to call it. But it is so it was a techno remix of that hip hop song, and I still have that record, and I it still plays. It's still pretty clean copy. So it's 20 years and counting now at this point. So that's the very first one that I got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you remember where it was you bought it from?
I'm pretty sure it was at Hot Topic.
Oh yeah, like the clothing store?
It was the ones in the mall. They
Yeah,
sell, yeah, they're probably
like they
mostly
sell
defined as
skater clothes, right?
yeah, they sell skater clothes, they sell goth stuff, emo stuff,
And they sell
probably or
vinyl.
and they sell honestly, it's very tiny. There's only like a small little section, but I still if I'm at a mall and I go to the Hot Topic, it's to tear through like the 12 records that they have because I have found some interesting items there, including they have exclusive items. I found a Breaking Bad soundtrack to there years ago. So yeah,
I thought you
it's hot.
got the Breaking Bad soundtrack as Record
Oh,
Day Store.
good catch, good
Record
catch,
Store Day. I said Record Day
good
Store.
catch.
I'm tired. It's almost midnight. I should note that. It's almost midnight. I do know it's called Record Store Day. Thank you. I'm just really exhausted.
That's fair. I'm glad that you called me out on that. I did get the official soundtrack to Breaking Bad on Record Store Day. This was like a season one like specific. Like they were doing soundtracks by seasons, I think, at some point. So the one I got on Record Store Day, now that the show has been over for several years, it was like a an all-encompassing the five seasons like retrospective soundtrack. Whereas the one I got at Hot Topic was just a in the moment picture disc of just like season one. So
Right. Which one do you like better?
well the one I got on Record Store Day I like better. Because it does have that song 1977 that the other one does not have on it that I didn't even know this Record Store Day release had on it. So that just made it over the moon for me. So I do like that one better. Sorry, Hot Topic. Nothing against Hot Topic. So,
All right. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation tonight, Chris.
I've enjoyed the conversation. Did you notice my lack of thoroughly? That was intentional, but I'm just kidding. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself as well. Um, I think that you wanted to. Oh no, okay, no, okay. I remember now. I remember what you suggested that we end it with. Um, so should we? But before that, should we give out information again about the event, or do you think
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
just like
Uh,
it's June 15th. It's a Saturday. It's 12 noon to 5 p.m. Unless you become one of the VIP chickens, you can get in earlier at 11 a.m. Um, so that's the who and the
Tickets are
what.
available on our website, binchickens.com. You can follow us on Instagram. We are at
BinChickenChicago.com, I think.
binchickenschicago.com. Sorry if I didn't. I'm
Yeah.
told you it's late. I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, we are on Instagram. It's Bin Chickens Shy. And we are on Facebook. You can find us at Bin Chickens Chicago. Bin Chickens Vinyl Fair. Yeah, dig it.
Excellent. So I'd like to thank anybody and everybody who listened to this. I want to thank.
I'd
I
like
want
to
to thank.
congratulate you all on making it to the end.
um, and I want to thank Julie, obviously, for a number of reasons, but this most recent reason for being on the show, which I hope we can have you back in studio. I know
I'll
it took
think
you a
about
while
it.
to make it over here. Um, and then I also wanted to thank Russ and Betty because without them, Julie wouldn't be possible.
Oh, wow. She's going to like that one, Chris. Nice move.
Well, she's lasted this long, then she deserves a little something, don't you think?
All right. Well, until next time.
Yeah, we'll be talking at you soon. Take care and okay, bye.
Okay. Bye bye.